I just woke up. Well, I've been up for an hour. That's a lie. Eye bookers, whatever. It's 3:40 in the morning. I like waking up early in the morning. The reason why I wake up so early, usually, today I woke up kind of late. Usually I try to wake up around like 1. There's nothing going on at 1 o'clock in the morning. You got a lot of people that are still awake, right? So they're on they're like on this part, about to be crashing and going to sleep, right? And then that's it. It's very peaceful. It's quiet. Just listen. Exactly. You can't hear anything. So wake up early. You get some time by yourself, right? But while let me see. I'm taking notes first thing in the morning, right? But while I was sitting here in this room, remember, I've only lived in this particular room for a week, maybe, because I was in my other room. I moved in this room because my one of my bathrooms is in here, so it's just faster, right? Instead of living in a different room and then walking in here to go to the bathroom, I'm like, well, I might as well just live in this room. Um, I want to talk a little bit about the importance of having a library, or at least books in your room. So today's a little bit longer than the 5 minutes that I usually promise, because we're already at a minute and a half. And the reason is we're going to talk a little bit about dreams. When you dream, right, your mind doesn't really know the difference between a dream and reality, right? So if you're woken up and you're like, wow, that felt so real. Well, to your brain, it was real, right? So I don't want to go too much in depth. So I'm only going to bring it like that has to do with books and why I want you to have books close to your bedroom. So you tend to dream about the last thing that was on your mind before going to sleep. So if you were thinking about your financial problems, then your mind when you're sleeping is going to be thinking about financial problems and all the negative things because you were thinking negatively before you went to bed. But if you were thinking of financial problems as a positive thing, like, whew, man, this new Porsche, this new Ferrari, right? I'm glad I don't have financial problems, right? Well, then your mind's going to be thinking about all the Lamborghinis, Ferraris, whatever it is, G6s and G8s, whatever, and then you're going to be dreaming and you're going to wake up with a little bit more motivation, right, to go get the things that you dreamt about because you dreamt about it, right? So, or if you're thinking about a girl before you go, or a guy, right, before you go to sleep, well, subconsciously your mind thinks about it all bloody night. So if you sleep for 8 hours, right, so think about it, you're at work throughout the day, maybe 8, 10, 12 hours. How many different thoughts go through your head? Millions, right? Or thousands, whatever. But when you're sleeping for 8 hours, it's kind of like hyper focused, right? So, because if this has ever happened, like you think like your dream was like for 5 minutes, but then you realize that you were asleep for 5 hours, right? So, think about that. Sleep for 5 hours. You're going through your dream. You're going through your adventure in your dream, whatever it is, right? Everyone's had crazy dreams before. That dream that you think doesn't take very long is actually hours and hours, right? Excuse me. So, wouldn't you want your mind to work for you, right, before you go to bed? And then the 8 hours that you're sleeping, 10 hours you're sleeping, your mind is just consistently working and figuring problems out or going to different worlds you've never thought of before, right? And so having a library close to your room or close to where you sleep is vital for this, right? Because where do you want to go when you're sleeping? And let's look, right? So, mind you, it's first thing in the morning, so I already went to sleep, and this is part of the reason I did this because I had some dreams about what I was doing right before I went to bed. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna talk about that. All right, so we got Dave Ramsey's Complete Guide to Money, but kind of like the title of it says, biographies before you go to bed, which makes sense because then you get a lot of time to think about. But like we're saying, where do you want to go? So if you're trying to solve problems, obviously, get some problem solving books. And then, for 8 hours, your mind's going to be thinking about it. But today, right? Today, it's already 5 minutes, so I apologize. Today's going over, right? I have been looking at this one book. Well, I've been looking at a couple of them. I really want to look at this one, Sublime Nature. That's just, I would love to think about that when I'm going to bed, right? Then we got, because you just look at pretty things and you dream about being at all these pretty places and, divine nature. Then we got Night Vision, right? That one's another one. Like, I think this room, I don't know, I accidentally, because, this isn't my encyclopedia room. The encyclopedia room's over there. This is like National Geographic room, because I'm over here looking at a whole bunch of National Geographics, which, always interesting. But today, oh, this one's really awesome too. The Sea. It's not random. I already looked at it, so maybe one of these days I'll bring it out and we'll look through it together. But it's a really awesome book. The book that has been on my nerves. I don't really know how to pronounce it, right? But I have, for some reason, it's the reason we're going to talk about it today, and it's this one. Baroque. Architecture, sculpture, and painting. It was sticking out at me, so it's like, we gotta do it. Okay. All right. So right here we got Wolfgang Jung, Architecture and the City in Italy, from the early Baroque to the early neoclassical period. So I'm guessing that Baroque is some time in history. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or maybe it's I don't know what it is. Yeah, it has to be. It has to be some kind of, because we got Baroque architecture in Spain, in Portugal, in Latin America, in France. Baroque city planning. What is this? In the longer video, I'm going to have to Google and see what this word means. Because it's all over. They got it. Wait a minute. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. See what I'm saying? Baroque architecture in Spain and Portugal and Latin America and France and Scandinavia, Netherlands, England, Germany, Swiss, Austria, Eastern European. Then we got sculptures. Then we got paintings. So I think I'm gonna have to go a little longer on this one, because we're gonna have to dive in and see exactly what this means, right? Because there was a reason why I was calling my name, right? That's a big book too, like 430 pages. Obviously, we're not gonna go through the whole book. I like going to Latin America, so let's go. Baroque architecture in Latin America, page 120. Oh wow, look at this, 108. Hold on. So Spain and Portugal. Ooh, goodness. This is goodness. This is, oh wow. I've been there. Yeah. Hold on. I've been there. I got a picture of it at nighttime. Look, I'm sorry, I forgot what page I'm supposed to be on. Latin America, 120. I've been here too. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. 120. All right, here we go. So, yeah, so it's basically the way that it's architecture. Literally, it's just architecture. Well, that didn't last very long. What? There's only one page in there. Hold on, man. before we, because that was one page. It doesn't seem right. Ah, it looks like I picked literally the one that had 2 pages, and that was it. So, Baroque architecture in Latin America. So we got Mexico, Brazil, Cuba, Brazil, and Brazil. So what I'm gonna do, 1700s, 18th century. So what I'm gonna do, since this is kind of short, is throughout this. I mean, I hope you guys are excited as I am, because I'm gonna do in the longer video, right? In the longer one, I'm gonna go ahead and just. Well, now it got me very interested on what about in England. All right, so 162. Because now I kind of think I know what this is, but then you go to England and it's like, well, that's completely opposite of what I thought. So 162. Okay, this is this type of architecture in England. Okay, because look, with the columns and there's just massive houses too. So what we're gonna do, especially if you're interested in architecture, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper. Mind you, I'm not gonna do the entire book because that would be for a completely different class. But for this particular one, I've already gone way over. It's supposed to be 5 minutes. We're at 12 minutes, almost 13 minutes. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna read over Spain, Portugal, Latin America, and France. No, I'm not going to do France. So just Spain, Portugal, and Latin America. The reason I'm going to do that is because obviously Brazil speaks Portuguese and the rest of Latin America speaks Spanish. So I want to kind of see, since we only had 2 pages of Latin America, I want to kind of see where it derived from, right? So we're going to do Spain, Portugal, and Latin America in the more advanced or whatever, the longer video. Mind you, this one's long. It's 13 minutes. So the next one it's going to be longer because this is pretty interesting. So again, let's get back to, remember, whatever you're really thinking about before you go to bed, mind you, I just woke up. But if I was looking at this before I went to bed and I read about all this before I went to bed, then the dreams that I would have probably would have something to do with this type of architecture or the mansions or I don't even know, mansions, castles, palaces, whatever you call these enormous structures with all this artwork and everything. I mean, this is just amazing. They're huge, right? Like, I would not mind living in one of these bad boys. I would have to have quite a few staff because my house isn't even that big and I have a hard time keeping track of it, right? But again, the importance of having books in the room that you sleep and having like interesting books. Don't have scary books. Don't have any of that kind of stuff because I hate snakes, right? I'm petrified of snakes. If I had books all about snakes in here, then what do you think I'm going to dream about? Some bloody snakes, and I'm not going to be sleeping very well. But I like architecture. I like castles and mansions and all that kind of stuff. So, and there's a lot of other kind of. Just look, right? So we got the National Geographic, some science, some trains, architecture. Obviously, we got Islam, who's in the Bible, encyclopedia history, Catcher in the Rye, Ernest Hemingway, social problems, uh, 7 pillars of wisdom, We even got Warren Buffett and George Soros, right? We got just a lot of different writings and things. We got the great books. So kind of have books that inspire motivation and inspiration. So when you're sleeping, you can allow your mind to wander on interesting subjects, right? Subjects to help you in the future. And when you wake up, you'll be more motivated. So if you have problems right now with your finances or something, then before you go to bed, read books on like getting yourself out of finance and really try to just dream about it. So when your mind is working for 8 hours on how to solve your problems, right? If you like architecture, if you want to dream about architecture, that's why I said, it's kind of like your own movie library, right? It allows your brain to dream and think at nighttime. So just build your library, have one close to your room. So before you go to bed, you don't have to just watch the big box, right? TV. You can enhance your brain with pictures and things like this because if I would have never even thought about looking up. I'm a badger the name of this one more time. Bosque, whatever it's called, architecture on YouTube. Why? Because I didn't even know it existed, right? But having random books helps you, right? So again, like, subscribe, whatever it is you guys like to do. Leave a comment down below if you want to, be technical and tell me exactly how wrong I pronounced everything, and give me your YouTube definition of what all this stuff is when I have this huge book in front of me, and tell me how wrong I am about everything. That's cool. You can do that. Or you can be like, those pictures are awesome, and meet me on the other side where I go more in depth and let's learn more about the Baroque era architecture, sculpture, and painting. All right, see you on the other side.